Alright, so today we have a bell ringer with Cammy, and let's get started. Okay, so looking at what we have here, we just from the previous video, we learned how to do one-step inequalities. So what we're going to do first is we're going to, give me a second, we're going to add 8 to both sides, right? So that we can get this 6y over here alone. So when we add 8 to this side, we have 18. We know that this sign stays the same. And now we have 6y is less than 18. We also know that in order to get this y on the side by itself, that we have to divide both sides by 6, and which gives us y is less than 3. All right, so let's come down here, and we have 3, and we're going to plot this 3. We're going to use a open circle, excuse me, because we don't have a line underneath this inequality sign, right? So we're going to use an open circle. Okay, so now we need to know whether if we're going to draw or shade rather in this direction, or if we're going to shade in this direction. So we're going to use 2 test points. So we're going to use -3 and 8. Okay, so if we use -3 for y, is -3 less than 3? Yes. Okay, so if we use 8 for y, is 8 less than 3? No. So therefore we know that we're shading in this direction, because y can be any number on this graph that is less than 3. And all of these numbers on this graph are less than 3. I'm even going to go so far as to shade the arrow, because every number so after that is less than 3 and can equal y. All right, so let's look at the second one. So here we have a +9 minus 2f is less than equal to 19. Okay, so we can quickly see that we have to subtract 9 from both sides. And we know we can't take 19 and add and subtract it from both sides because it's already by itself, right? So we want to get this part alone. So we have to subtract 9 from both sides. And once we do that, we're left with a -2f is less than equal to a +10. All right, so we're going to divide both sides by -2. And when we divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign, remember? Okay, so we divide this by a -2. We're left with f is greater than equal to +5. So we're going to draw, do we have an open circle or a dot? A dot, right? Because there's a line underneath that inequality sign. So now we're going to use a couple test points. So we're going to use 0 and 8. So we're going to use 0 for f. Is 0 greater than 5? No. Okay, so let's use the 8. Is 8 greater than 5? Yes. So we know that we have to shade going in this direction. And I always try to, I didn't do it this time, but just so that we can really see your dot, probably make it a different color. Okay? Okay. If it's not an open circle, you know, just so that we can see the dot better. All right, so let's look at number 3. Here we have 3p minus 7 is less than 8. Okay? So we know automatically that we have to add 7 to both sides, right? So we know that these cancel. And we're left with 3p is less than 15. Okay? So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And we're left with p. Our sign stays the same. P is less than 5. So we're going to come over here to 5. And we need an open circle, right? Because there's no line underneath this inequality sign. All right? So we're going to use a couple test points. And this time we're going to use -1 and 9. Okay? All right, so is -1 less than 5? Yes, -1 is in fact less than 5. Let's look at the next test point. Is 9 less than 5? No. So therefore, we know that we have to shade going in, this is getting out of hand, sorry, in this direction. I don't have my pen, I'm using my finger. All right, so we're done with the bell ringer. You guys can go ahead and submit that. And now we're going to look at the assignment for the day. Okay, so now we're doing 2-step inequalities. So as you can see, I've already worked the first one. So what I did here was pretty much all I did was distribute first. Okay, so that's just the extra step that they threw in for you. So we all know that 3 times t is 3t, and 3 times 2 is 6. And I just brought down the other side of the inequality, which is less than equal to 9. And what I did next was subtract 6 from both sides, right? So we were left with on this side to bring down 3t that we already had. We know that these 6 cancel. So we just brought down the inequality sign, which was less than equal to, and we subtracted 6 from 9, which gave us 3. So now we're left with 3t less than equal to 3, and we divided by 3 on both sides in order to get this t over here alone. So these 3's canceled, and we were left with t is less than equal to, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So what we're going to do now is graph this. So we're going to find 1, and we're going to come over here and graph this. Okay, so we're going to use -4, and we can use 7, right? All right, so let's look and see about our test points. So if we use -4 for t, is -4 less than 1? Yes. What about if we use 7 as a test point? Is 7 less than 1? No, 7 is not less than 1. So therefore, we know that we have to draw a little shade in going in this direction, right? Okay, so let's look at number 2. Didn't work this one. So like I said, we distributed first. So we always draw lines, and we have 2 m because 2 times m is 2m minus 2 because 2 times -1 is minus 2, that -2. All right, and then we're going to bring down what we have left. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 to both sides just so that we can get this 2m on the side of the inequality sign by itself, right? Okay, so we know that these 2's cancel, and now we're left with 2m is greater than equal to 8. So now we know all we need to do is divide both sides by 2, and we're left with m is greater than equal to 4. Okay, so we're going to find 4, which is here, and we know that we need a dot, and we need a dot because this has a line underneath it, right? All right, so now we're going to use a couple test points. We're going to use -3, and we're going to use 8. Okay, so if we use -3 for m, we're going to see if -3 is greater than 4. Is -3 greater than 4? No, -3 is not greater than 4. What about this 8? Is 8 greater than 4? Excuse me. Yes, 8 is greater than 4. So therefore, we know we have to shade going in this direction. Right? So let's skip that one. I'm running out of time. So we're going to do this one. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. Right? We know that these cancel, and we're left with -8q. Bring down our sign. And 16. All right, so since this is negative, you have to remember that whenever you're dividing or multiplying by a negative, that we flip the sign. So now we're going to have -2, because that's what 16 divided by a -8 gives us. And we're going to flip. I already flipped it here. Or did I? No, I didn't. I didn't flip it there. We're going to flip the sign. And we're just left with these cancel. We're left with Q. And that's our answer. The -2 is greater than equal to Q. Make that look a little bit more like a Q. Alright, so now we're going to find -2, which is here. Okay, so now we're going to use a couple test points. We're going to use -6 and 4. Okay, so let's look at -2, which is, like I said, here. And if we're going to use -6 for Q, is -2 greater than -6? Yes. What about if we use 4 for Q? Is -2 greater than a +4? No. So therefore, we know we're going to shade going in this direction. Right? Okay, so I'm going to stop this video here and make another one just so that I can go ahead and finish the last points, and I will do this problem in the next video since I'm going to have to make another. So I'm going to stop this one here.